Hey, what is up, everybody? I'm here to give you my WWE NXT review for March 8th, 2017. So I will officially be caught up with NXT after this review. Um, and I'm looking forward to watching it. It's the most recent episode of NXT. It's only an hour, so let's just get to watching it. Okay, so now we have the part where I'm going to preview NXT, so let me talk about that. The only thing I can really preview is this is going to be the big return of Shinsuke Nakamura since he was taken out by Bobby Roode in NXT TakeOver San Antonio. Going to be interesting to see him back, see what he does, but really nothing else I can think of. Probably going to put over some angles for NXT TakeOver Orlando since it's getting to be that time. So and then so the maybe a little bit of fallout from the last episode, but not really a lot to preview. So let's just get right into the episode of NXT. Alright, so the first thing that happens is we have a WWE.com exclusive. TJ Perkins gets interviewed, and he's going to be the one that faces Shinsuke Nakamura in his return. And, he talks about how he opened the door for the Cruiserweight division in 205 Live. And he says that he's now the first superstar in the Cruiserweight division to compete outside of his division, which isn't true. And at all, there's been other superstars in the Cruiserweight division that's competed in NXT and competed outside the division. So, I don't know where he got that from. And he says that, in a sense, him and Shinsuke Nakamura are mirror images of each other because they both have the same styles and they both train together. They wrestled in Japan together. Um, and then he says that everyone claims that I steal his moves because I do the Fujiwara, and he says that he doesn't steal a move, he steals spotlights. So I thought it was a good promo. Um, it definitely does prove my friend. So my friend I have a friend who talks about all the time that everybody in WWE seems like that they've been friends now, and it's definitely true because in this promo, T.J. Perkins just admitted pretty much that he was friends with Shinsuke Nakamura. So when we've never even heard them have any association with each other, so it was weird. But I do think it makes sense for T.J. Perkins to face Shinsuke Nakamura in his first match back, since a lot of his moves is going to be him targeting Shinsuke Nakamura's knee, and he recently just had the knee injury, so it will kind of make Shinsuke Nakamura have to work harder to actually fight through the knee injury. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Okay, so we had the actual show itself. We had Percy Watson, Nigel McGuinness, and Tom Phillips on commentary for it. And we had the first match on the show. It was Ty Dillinger versus Eric Young. And Eric Young sends the rest of the members of Sanity backstage because he wants it just to be him versus Ty Dillinger, just one-on-one. But before the match even starts, the rest of the members of Sanity come out and they pull out Roderick Strong, who's been all beaten up. His clothes are all torn off, and I actually thought that was good. So Ty Dillinger goes to check on him, and then No Way Jose comes out and he checks on him, and I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden the all of Sanity was just in the ring together. Like it's like the rest of them just kind of like they must have like rushed there or something because it was weird. But Ty Dillinger and No Way Jose are upset about this. They want to make a stand, so they go and fight Sanity, even though they know the numbers aren't in their favor. And pretty much the numbers game catches up to them. And Alexander Wolf and Killian Dane. Alexander Wolf hits a running knee, and Killian Dane hits like a running power slam. And Eric Young hits a wheelbarrow neck breaker on Ty Dillinger. And Sanity ends up standing tall. And I actually thought this was a really good opening segment. It made Sanity look like a force to be reckoned with. And you had him pretty much take out you had him take out, I would say, maybe like three top contenders of NXT in Ty Dillinger, Roderick Strong, and No Way Jose. So I thought that was good. So I thought this was a good opening segment. Good way to start off the show. Um, so then we had Billy Kay and Peyton Royce backstage, and they were trying to find a place to hang their Breakout Superstar of the Year award. They're going all over the Performance Center. And I forgot to mention too, NXT tonight's in the CFE arena, so it's not in the normal Full Sail University arena. But anyhow, and Billy Kay and Peyton Royce are trying to find, and they see the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classics World Cup, and they're saying that they should have um, they should have a big trophy like that for being breakout superstars of the year. And they see Ember Moon training in the trainer's room and lifting weights, and they're making fun of her. And Ember Moon looks through the glass, and then she rushes out to the door and says, "You got a problem with me?" And she has to be pulled back by the trainer. And she's like, "I'll fight you both tonight." So it turns into a match later on in the show. And I did like this segment. It actually felt something a little different. It was kind of cool. So overall, NXT's been a pretty good show so far. Okay, so next we had this video package. And I don't know what the hell this is supposed to be. I just went and watched it back again. And um but it's pretty much this guy who's in a church, and he talks about how he's no saint or sinner. And he said that he doesn't believe anybody's truly good or truly evil, but and he says that he's here to simply fade to black. So I have a feeling it's going to be some sort of anti-hero, which would be nice. I don't know who this is, this could be, but I am pretty interested to see who this is and who this character is. It's got my attention, so I think that's good. Next match was Ho Loon versus Ardoin Sen Nomas, and this was pretty much a squash. Ardoin Sen Nomas pretty much destroys Ho Loon, and he beats him with the hammerlock DDT. And I actually thought it was fine. It made him look like it made Ardoin Sen Nomas look strong, so I thought this was fine. Next match was Billy Kay with Peyton Royce ringside versus Ember Moon. I actually thought this was a good, solid women's match here. Ember Moon hits a Billy Kay and Peyton Royce are being really cocky, so they start shaking hands and stuff. And when Billy Kay turns around, Ember Moon hits a drop kick on her, then she hits a a springboard crossbody, covers her. Billy Kay kicks out, and then Billy Kay grabs the ropes and she tries to pull her in the ring, and she pulls Peyton Royce in with her. She tells Peyton Royce to get out, and Billy Kay attacks her from behind, dominates the matchup for a while. She hits the eat defeat on Ember Moon, kicks out, and then Ember Moon makes a comeback, and she goes up on the top turnbuckle, and Peyton Royce tries to interfere, but she threatens to attack her, so Peyton Royce doesn't do it, and then she hits the Eclipse for the win. And I thought this was a good, solid match. Makes Ember Moon look strong. And afterwards, Billy Kay has to be helped to the back because I guess apparently she received a stinner or something. So I guess that kind of sucks. I actually thought like one was going to turn on the other, and if one was going to, it was going to be Peyton Royce, by the way, because they were showing it and they were kind of dragging it out as long as they did, but it didn't happen. But still, I thought this was a good, solid women's match here. I enjoyed it. Okay, next, TJ Perkins gets interviewed, and he gets asked why he came back to NXT, and he says he hasn't lost sight on wanting to regain his Cruiserweight Championship. And he says whether it's 205 Live or NXT, he's here to perform. And he says that he wants to wrestle Shinsuke Nakamura since they grew up together in Japan. And he pretty much says the same thing that he said in the earlier promo that I talked about. So overall, I thought this, was another good promo. But since I saw the promo earlier, it was kind of the same thing. So whatever. Okay, the next match was a tag team match. It was the Revival versus the Ele Brothers, I think is how you say it. And the match never happens. Before the match starts, the Authors of Pain attack the Ele Brothers and throws them and beats them up on the outside. And they go to attack the Revival, but the Revival escape through the crowd. And the Authors of Pain hit the final chapter on one of the Ele Brothers to lay him out. And that was it. I thought this was nice. I thought it was nice and simple, and it was actually a surprise. I didn't expect the Authors of Pain to come out here, actually, so I thought this was fine. Okay, next, Ember Moon and William Regal get interviewed, and William Regal announces pretty much that Asuka's going to defend her NXT Women's Championship against Ember Moon at NXT TakeOver Orlando. And then Ember Moon says that at NXT TakeOver Orlando, there will be a new face in the women's division. And like I said, I can't wait to see this match between Ember Moon and Asuka. And I hope Ember Moon's the one to defeat Asuka and end her long reign because she's the perfect person to do so. She's an unstoppable force, and it seems like that's the direction they're going. So I kind of hope that's what happens. Okay, so next we Tom Phillips interviews Cassius Ohno, and Tom Phillips asks him what it's like for him to be back in NXT after being gone for so long, and he says that it feels surreal. He actually feels like that he's in a new place. Because originally, when he was in the performance center, they were unloading things and it was an empty building. But now he sees everything. And it just says that he feels surreal for him to be back. And then he asks him, what is it like for him to get an opportunity to win the NXT championship? And Cassius Ohno says that he's wrestled all over the world. The first thing he was good at was wrestling. He's won championships all over the world. He's gone from being the opening match on the show to being the main event. And then he says that at and then he says that, but the one time he's felt that was when he stepped foot in NXT, and he said that he's going to validate that by winning the NXT championship. And then Tom Phillips asked him, and then shortly afterward, does NXT take over Orlando during WrestleMania weekend, and you have a chance to walk in with the NXT championship? And Cassius Ohno says that would be a huge honor for him to walk into NXT Takeover Orlando and defend the NXT championship. So I thought he actually cut a really good promo. I thought it was great. And then afterwards, Bobby Roode gets interviewed via satellite from his house in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And Tom Phillips is trying to ask him a question, but Bobby Roode tells him to shut up. And he says that he was in the midst of his NXT championship, the midst of making NXT glorious. But then somebody like Cassius Ohno walks in and is trying to win his NXT championship. And he's like, who do you think looks more like an NXT champion? Me, who has so much class, or somebody that looks like a dirty hippie from the 70s? And he says that he has a duty, and the fate of NXT is in his hands. And he says that he's going to walk into NXT next week and defend and retain his title, and he's going to walk into NXT Takeover Orlando in the main event and defend his title there. And he said that he's going to continue to make NXT glorious. And then he tells all the cameramen that they're not glorious, and he tells them to get out of his house. And he's got better things to do to sit here and talk to Tom Phillips. And then that was it. But I thought these were great promos. I thought they were a great way to build up to the NXT Championship match for the next episode of NXT, and I thought it was awesome. So yeah, can't wait to see I can't wait to see the match tomorrow between Cassius Ohno and Bobby Roode for the NXT Championship. Okay, so then we had the main event. It was T.J. Perkins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I thought this was a really good main event. Um, Both men just start chain wrestling each other. Actually, there's one point where T.J. Perkins has Nakamura in the head scissors and he dabs, and then Shinsuke Nakamura reverses it and he dabs, kind of plays a little bit of mind games with T.J. Perkins. He does the spot earlier in the match too, where he swings his head down like he normally does and swings his arms around, which is really cool. And then T.J. Perkins kicks him out of the ring, and he goes for the drop kick while he's in between the ropes, but Nakamura moves out of the way. And Nakamura front face suplexes him on the apron. He hits a wicked knee right to the head. And then Shinsuke Nakamura puts him back in the ring. TJ Perkins starts to target the injured leg of Shinsuke Nakamura. And TJ Perkins tries to hit some offense. He hits a diving crossbody. And then eventually the match starts to get really high fast paced. TJ Perkins ends up hitting the drop kick. He hits a DDT off the top rope. And then Shinsuke Nakamura starts to make a comeback. He hits a kick. He goes for a kick when TJ Perkins is laid up on the top rope. TJ Perkins moves out of the way. He hits a low balance drop kick onto Nakamura, and he starts to work over the injured leg. Nakamura gets him into a triangle choke, but TJ Perkins counters into a roll up, and then they both exchange arm bars on each other. And then T.J. Perkins gets him into a half crab, and but Shinsuke Nakamura is able to reverse that into a triangle choke. And then eventually T.J. Perkins gets him into the knee bar. Nakamura is able to get to the ropes, and T.J. Perkins says he was this close. And then Nakamura starts to make a comeback. He goes for the Kinshasa. T.J. Perkins takes out his knee, and then eventually he hits a gut buster into an STO, and then he hits the Kinshasa for the win. So I thought this was a really good main event here. I thought both superstars looked good coming out of it. And then backstage, William Regal announces that whoever wins the NXT Championship match between Bobby Roode and Cassius Ohno is going to face Shinsuke Nakamura at NXT TakeOver Orlando. So like I said, like I talked about in my last NXT review, I fully expect Bobby Roode to retain because the story's there with Bobby Roode and Shinsuke Nakamura, since you have Bobby Roode, who took out Shinsuke Nakamura with his injured knee. So I actually, but if it's Cassius Ohno, I wouldn't complain either. You could do something with that, but I feel like you should just go with Bobby Roode because it's a more simpler storyline, but we'll have to wait and see. So overall, I thought NXT was a really good show. I thought they accomplished a lot of storylines. I liked the way they built up the NXT Championship match. I liked the women's match between Billie Kay and Ember Moon. I liked the Ardoin Sen Nomas the Ardoin Sen Nomas Ho Loon match was fine. I liked the way they made Sanity look like a dominant force. I like how they built up the NXT tag team champions on the show with the Revival and the Authors of Pain. So overall, and I liked them, and I thought the show had a really good main event. So overall, if I had to rate this show, I'll rate it a 7 out of 10. And that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for future content. And make sure to subscribe to my CM Brothers I Know on the Talkinator channel. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.